So we are now going to move on to our Orlando Pride playoff preview press conference with VP of Soccer Operations and Sporting Director, new title for Haley Carter, and our head coach, Seb Hines. Just to get things started, just what are the feelings going into playoffs, coming off the Shield, and knowing that, the possibility of 2 home games ahead? Start with Seb, and then we'll go to Haley.
No, we're really happy that we're getting 2 home games. The excitement around the city, playing in front of our fans is incredible. The ones that have stuck by us through the hard times and rewarding them with the good times now. And yeah, whoever comes here, it should be an exciting game, and hopefully we can win both of them to lead us to the championship game in Kansas.
Anything to add, Haley?
No, I would just say, obviously echo Seb's thoughts, but I think it's also exciting. We've got, coming out of the international break, a home game against Seattle for our final regular season game. So it's a good opportunity to sort of reset coming out of the international window and go into playoffs prepared coming off of a regular season home game. So to think about it being a potential 3-game home stretch is a really positive, exciting thing for us.
Start with Austin.
Seb, I've already asked you about this, but I'll ask Haley, just perspective-wise, for the success of the season. I know you talked last year kind of about the long-term approach to building this team. To see it find success in a short amount of time, how proud does that make you, just of the way things have come together, your vision that you've kind of helped put together with Seb and the rest of the staff to see success in year 2 with the Shield? And continuing on into playoffs now.
It's certainly rewarding. I think pride is a dangerous thing, so I don't want to talk about how proud I am of it. But I will say what this staff and group of athletes has accomplished is exceptional. It's extraordinary, and we've had a vision, right? We knew what we wanted to build, and I think we've also managed expectations accordingly. And I think to achieve the kind of success that this group has achieved is, again, it's exceptional. It's really, it's unheard of. When you look back historically at NWSL teams and performances, you look at the powerhouse that North Carolina was in years past, and to see this group of athletes is being mentioned in that is extraordinary. But we're not done yet. And it's one thing to do something well for a year, but we want to create something that's sustainable long term. And I'd like to think that this is just the beginning of that journey.
I'm going to go to the Zoom to Jeff Kassouf, and then we'll go back to the room. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thanks, Jackie. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Seb, I just wanted to revisit a thought that you were sort of midstream after you guys won the Shield and the players came in, and I think you had to shift gears because they drew your attention. But you were talking about the past, and you lived through that, right? You said people wrote us off. There was no hope for this club, and I think you were maybe expanding on that. You lived through that. Just what was that like to be in that spot and now where you are? And then if I could maybe two-part this for both of you too. Just Haley, you said sustaining that's been a tough thing in this league for a lot of teams. It's sort of, some teams are, 1 year in the final, 1 year there at the bottom. How do you sustain that?
So yeah, I think it was a difficult time for this club. Anyone who was associated with the club 3-4 years ago, there wasn't much hope. We lost all our big players. No one gave any respect for the players who stayed and battled through that 2022 season. And when we came along, we had to make sure that we're going to be competitiveness enough to compete at this level. So we had to guide the players that we had. We had to show that we had belief in them. We had to almost create somewhat a culture that you have to earn the right to play. And even when we did that and we went 7 games unbeaten in 2022, people still wrote us off and said, the players that we had at our disposal weren't good enough. And, you fast forward to 2023, we invested heavily into youth, bringing in young, talented players, looking at the draft. And again, the start of the season wasn't great, but we were on the right trajectory to make sure that we are moving forward. And you could see that we had more stability within the club, you know, bringing Haley in, bringing a full-time coaching staff in, equipment staff, because those are the things we didn't have in 2022. We didn't really have that stability. And the players could see that and they could feel that. And so somewhat that was shown in our performances, but you know, when you have a good structure and you have people around you that believe in you, you have good ownership as well that have the same values as we do. You know, everyone's bought into it, and so as much as the disappointment of how it finished in 2023, you know, we should be very proud of what we did. Going into this year, we used that as fuel. You know, I think it was a blessing that we didn't make playoffs because we used that fuel going into this year, and we continued that momentum all the way until winning the Shield. So you look at it, you think it's a quick fix, but it certainly hasn't been. We've gone through dark times, and to come off the back of winning a Shield, which probably doesn't get enough credibility because it's one of the most difficult things to do in today's game, is winning a league and also being unbeaten whilst doing it. Massive credit has to go anyone who's associated with this club, and so we're just really pleased of what we've done. But to Haley's point, you know, the reality is we've got to win a championship. We've got to keep looking forward. We have to keep looking not just this year but years to come, and make sure that we're a powerhouse in the near future. So yeah, I was just pleased that we managed to get some silverware because it has been a rough journey to get to this point.
Hi, Jeff. From my side, I would just say to Seb's point, you know, he talks about having a foundation and building that out. And when we look at long-term sustainability, obviously we care about winning. That's what we're paid to do. But it's so much more than just roster construction and athletes. You talk about having a support staff that you know, everyone is dedicated to the club and to the vision and what we're trying to do. And we talk about no one here is bigger than the club, and that applies to athletes, it applies to staff. And so for me, creating that long-term sustainability is, we talk about culture, and I know it's this buzzword and a lot of people throw it around. You're not really sure what it means, but if you talk to our athletes and you ask our athletes, what is our culture? And you talk to the staff, you ask them, what is our culture? It's clear when you're in it what it is. And it is very much about putting the club first. You play for the badge. You're proud to play for the badge. I think in the past in Orlando, the thought of playing for the badge was kind of the second priority, and right now that is the top priority, is playing for this club and playing for each other and having the ownership to support the decisions that Seb and I and our staff make. And you know, the athletes are behind it. Building something great takes time. So to Austin's earlier question, like, yeah, it's exceptional to see the kind of success that we're seeing in the timeline that we're seeing it in. But keeping that moving forward, the focus is not on wins and losses, and it's never been on wins and losses. It's been on doing things the right way and making sure we have the right people in place that are going to support the vision. We're getting the right investment from our ownership group, which has been incredible. It's focusing on all of those sort of intangible things, and making sure that people are being treated well and that they're having fun and they're enjoying it. You know, it does suck when you're losing, and it's not fun when you're losing, but this group of athletes, regardless of win-loss, comes together. They show up every day. The staff shows up every day. Everybody has a good time. Everybody supports everyone else. And I think that when we continue to focus on those things, results will come. I have to believe that. I've said that all along, and I think now that you see that come to fruition a bit, and that's going to continue to be our focus moving forward.
Go back to the room. We'll go Alonzo, Shane, then Mike.
Thank you, Aki. How are you, Coach? Hi, Haley. Coach, I want to ask you, I mean, 2 losses, but I mean, it happens right before the playoff. What do you learn to adjust so you can fix those little mistakes for the next home game and then go into the playoff?
No, it's good because we've just spoke about this. I think as an athlete, it's incredibly difficult to motivate yourself having had so much success, and I don't think they had that period where they could, you know, enjoy that moment. You know, last time we were here, we won the Shield, next minute, you know, we're having to go to Portland, and then we get back and then we have to go to Gotham. And I'm not making excuses up, but what this group of athletes have done in such a short period of time, and win the Shield whilst being unbeaten, to then go on 2 difficult road games, we just lack that little bit of maybe motivation. And so it comes at a good time. This international break has allowed us to reset, regroup, and really solely focus on going into this playoff football, because it is tournament football. I still think we've played some good football. I still think we've, you know, played from back to front really well. I think elements of our game that we have to rectify is probably what we do in both boxes, how we defend our box and how we attack in the opponent's box. And those are the talking points that we've had leading into, you know, training this week.
Shane, then Mike.
Seb, with the dominance this year, how do you think this group will handle this playoff run? It's been several years in the making. There's 2 hard parts to this. You've completed one of them, and that's winning the Shield. Now, as competitors, they're going to put their own weight and their own pressure on their shoulders to finish this off. How do you control all that, and how do you think they'll handle all this?
I think everyone has to give them grace. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, for Orlando Pride, this is only their second time been in playoffs. Like you said, we've achieved so much. Like, we've won the Shield, which is incredible. But the reality is, this is new territory for all of us. There's not many players who have been put in this position, so we'll have to figure out. But we'll do it our way. We'll do it how we think is best, and we'll approach games with the mindset to go out there and win them. Because if you don't win, like, you go home. The best thing for us is that we're at home. You know, we're in our environment. Teams have to travel. They have to come here, which we've shown all season long that this is a difficult, challenging place to come play. And that won't change. Like, we'll make it as hard as possible for any team, whether it's in the quarterfinals or semifinals. We'll stay true to ourselves. And, you know, there's going to be highs and there's going to be lows in the game. But our motive is to go out there and give everything. And like I said, the players have done that all season long, so that won't change.
Mike.
For Haley and Seb, I know you guys don't train with City, but the first time in the franchise's history that both teams have made the playoffs together, is there any such thing as organizational synergy? Can you feed off of each other, feed off success, motivate each other just by both having success at the same time?
I mean, we have a WhatsApp group where we like to chat with each other. Not things that I could necessarily share with the media. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from my standpoint, like, sharing success with Luiz and Ricardo, and, you know, we do have a WhatsApp group that's ongoing, where, you know, we share things and congratulate each other, and we talk about it being, you know, one club and enjoying success with each other. It is exciting to see both sides, but not just City, OCB as well. Like, to have Pride, City, and OCB all in the playoffs, I think for me, it's a testament to where the club is going as a whole, and it's also a testament to our ownership group more than anything else. I think that sends a pretty clear message to the city and to fans and supporters and to members of the club of the direction that we want to go in.
Go, Nathaniel.
No, I would just say it's exciting for the city, right? To have multiple teams in playoff football. You know, it just shows the growth of this organization and the club, and, you know, the fans and supporters should be excited for this moment.
Back here, Seb, question for you. Is there something that you can really pinpoint that contributed to the Pride success throughout the entire season? And what will it take for y'all to get back to that point and exceed that going into this playoff run?
I think there's so many moments this season that have shown what this team's about. I think, you know, from the start of the year, you know, pre-season, and getting the group together, getting the group to go away and get to know each other. And they responded so well to that, you know, where they're at points in the game where they can hold each other accountable because they build those relationships. That's really important to both of us. And then obviously in games, there's moments where, off second game of the season. We play at Angel City. We don't have an out-and-out centre back, and players had to fill in and do a job. And that just shows the character of the players, that regardless of their position, they're willing to do a job and what's best for the team. And then, mid-season, we go on that winning streak, 8 games where we feel unplayable at times, which again is another record that we've broke all season long. We go away to Kansas, we're down to 10 players, and end up winning that game when both teams are unbeaten. And then obviously the last home game here where you ultimately win the shield and you lift the shield in front of all your fans. I think that's such a special moment for everyone. But yeah, that's all in the past now, and we have to look forward, and we have to make sure that we're in the best possible position to go out there and represent each other and the city to bring a championship home.
Back to Austin.
For both of you, just Seb kind of mentioned it with having, fullbacks playing center backs at one point in the season. This roster is made up of so many versatile players. How important has that been just for Haley, for you, in terms of helping build the roster of players that can, do a job at multiple positions, and then for Seb, just being able to coach them up to have the confidence to play in those positions that they've never played before? How has that contributed to the success of this team so far?
We definitely prioritize having versatile players. We prioritize having good footballers. When you talk about the length of the season, for us, the season is actually 10 months long. So we are reporting in at the end of January, and the finals goes through, right? We're talking November 23rd. You've got an active roster of 26 players. Trying to get through that amount of time with only 26 players is very difficult. So, you start adding in things like CONCACAF Champions Cup next year and additional, the Summer Cup that we navigated through this year. The importance of national team replacement players, injury replacement players. You have to have versatile athletes. You cannot, that is the way of the future. You cannot get through a 10-month season without having players who have the ability to play in multiple positions. But I would also say it's a mindset for us. A growth mindset, a willingness to put yourself in a position where you're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be pushed to learn new things, and you're going to have to trust the coaching staff knows what's best for the team and has the confidence in you to play you in a position where they think that you're going to succeed, and they're going to give you the resources and the tools to succeed. So, from our standpoint, I don't think you can get through a season without having a vast quantity of players that can play in multiple positions and can do so seamlessly.
Go back to Mike for a final one.
Yeah, have you guys ever thought about, like, Barbra, like being a former boxer? Has that helped her soccer career at all?
I don't think Barbra being a former boxer has helped her soccer career. I think Barbra is just an unbelievable athlete with a mentality and physicality that is just unmatched. I think obviously she's a force to be reckoned with on a field running at players. But I don't necessarily think it's comes from a boxing background. I think that's just who she is. That's just who she is.
Yeah. We don't want her punching anyone.
I don't. Yeah, no, I would prefer that she not. I want to, before we close, if you don't mind, Jackie, I just want to add one thing, and I think it's important because I think Seb is gracious and incredibly humble, but there's a couple things, and this has come up a couple questions here and things that I've been asked by other members of the media around. We win the Shield 23 games in, and we lose the next 2 games. I want to make it abundantly clear as the leader of this organization that our athletes are human beings and our staff are human beings. And it is a natural reaction when you have worked as hard and as tirelessly as our athletes and staff did to win the Shield in 23 games. And that achievement is unheard of. It is exceptional. That is an NWSL record for undefeated games. And so, of course, we come out of the game winning the Shield. If you guys didn't know, we left the very next day on a plane to head to Portland. And to Seb's point, we're not making excuses, but I don't think there's anybody in this room who's ever achieved a goal that they have worked incredibly hard for and not immediately gone, I did it. So, I think everybody in our environment deserves a little bit of grace. I think the staff deserves a little bit of grace. I think the athletes deserve a little bit of grace. And that's not to say that we won't be prepared. And that's not to say that momentum doesn't matter going into the playoffs. But I just want to remind everyone of just how extraordinary the achievements of this team and this season have been, regardless of what the last two results have been. I just want to remind everybody of that. As we move forward, we're going to reset. For me personally, I think the international window comes at a really good time. It gives us the opportunity to take that moment, enjoy the fact that we won the Shield. I haven't even thought about the fact, I've been asked about it. I haven't even thought about the fact that we won the Shield. I think I've seen it for a total of maybe like 25 seconds.
Yeah, sorry.
I held it once. But I haven't even had the opportunity to sit and reflect on the things that have happened. So I would just ask everyone for a little bit of grace and understanding and a reminder that we're talking about athletes who have dedicated themselves tremendously to achieve the things that they have achieved. And regardless, you know, it's 2 matches and no one goes into a match hoping or thinking that it's okay not to come out of that match with 3 points, and certainly not in this environment. But we also have to understand that we're talking about humans. We're in the business of leading and managing humans. And so if we're not understanding of that and we're not understanding of each other in that situation, then we're doing it wrong.
Barbara, obviously it's been a crazy last couple of weeks for you and the team, going from winning the Shield now to last game of the season heading into playoffs. Just how have you kind of wrapped your head around the last, week and a half, 2 weeks for you personally?
Yeah, I think we've not done good enough for the past 2 games that we've had, but we've gone back to our drawing board and we're working on something that we were missing and lacking as a team, because our aim and target, we always want to win. So we are looking forward for that in the coming games that we're going to have.
How do you kind of just reset, obviously, the celebrations, winning the Shield, being able to celebrate with the team, but now kind of refocusing? How weird is that for you, just having won something, but now still having more to play for?
Well, that was amazing, and it's very exciting. We won the Shield, and we are now coming back to focus on the next game that we have, because we know that we still have unfinished business, we still have work to do, so we just have to keep on concentrating and focus on the next game that we're going to have.
Barbara, when you were a boxer, did you take any of that skill set to soccer? Does it help your soccer at all, being a boxer?
Honestly, as the boxing part, it's just at the moment I just do it for fitness, because it helps me to get back into my shape when I'm on my off season. So not necessarily bringing boxing to football, but it's just something I love doing at my free time.
You still do it?
At my free time, yeah, I just practice it, yeah, for my fitness, yeah.
There was a time, though, that you thought about maybe that was going to be your sport or not?
Definitely, but I had to choose one because I can't save 2 things at a time. So I just had to go with what I love doing most and where I'm more passionate about.
For you personally, for this year, scoring as many goals as you have and having the success with this team, how have you found just the year for you personally?
Yeah, I think the year has been great, and coming here, I feel great. I'm happy with the team, the teammates. They are the ones that have been helping me to score, because, without teammates, then I can't do it on my own. But I think this club has amazing people, technical staff, management, everyone in the club. They are really helping me to get better each and every day. Yeah.
Barbara, can you talk about just the investment that the Pride NWSL is making into the product now? I mean, obviously, you got a nice contract to come here. Just talk about the investment in women's sports, whether it be NWSL, WNBA, and how women's sports is growing and the investment's growing.
Yeah, I think that's great, because when we talk about women's, now we've improved in so many areas. So I think it's part of motivation, and we keep on working hard.
We have one on Zoom. Robert, Jeff for the ESPN. Just wondering if I could rewind to maybe the beginning of the year,
just what did you know about Orlando before you got here? What attracted you to coming here, and how have those, has it been what you expected in terms of, the club and the city and everything else?
Yeah, I think the moment I received a call from my agent about Orlando, then just right there I started following it and see what's going on. And I missed, I think, the first 2 games which I watched. By then I was still in China, and from that time I kept on following them. I saw how they were playing in those 2 games, so it was not that difficult for me. And when I came here, the way they welcomed me, that's really helped me to feel at home at a short period of time, and I coordinated with the team very well.
Beside the last 2 games, amazing, and of course I feel good, I feel confident, and I think the team feel the same. Of course, the last 2 games we did show what we did in most of the other games in the season, but we know we can do that, and we just need to connect everything again and start and have focus in the next game, and use the next game as a preparation for go to the first game in the playoffs and keep doing history here. Yeah.
How much do you kind of take the time to appreciate what you've done this season, but also know, even though you've won a trophy, there's still more to do? How do you kind of wrap your head around that and try and refocus after having all the celebrations that you had a couple weeks ago?
Well, I think you guys saw that I post so many pictures and videos, but I'm kind of like a player how think about always next step, and then my mind it's in the games that I have ahead, and how can I keep and do good for help my team. And of course, in the end of the season, I hope we can end with the title, and so I can think about that, But right now, my focus is next game and make sure that everybody it's already looking for that and have a whole focus in the next game to keep and do our best.
What would it mean for you personally? You've accomplished so much in your career to win the title.
Oh, wow! It means so much, Also because I've been here in Orlando for almost 8 years, and I always fight for develop this team so much and fight for something very interesting every single year. I think there was close, but not enough to make a big impact. And of course, if we finish this season with the title, it will be amazing, not only for me but for all of the players how put so much work on.
Why did you stay here when all the stuff was going on and everybody was leaving? Why did you choose to stay?
I don't know. I just feel like I'm not done yet. I love the seat. I love the people here. I feel I'm really feeling like I'm really close to my country in Brazil because the style it's very similar and make me feeling good. And like I say, I always feeling I'm not done here yet. So, and then I feel like I maybe found the place that I really have something to develop with my work on the field, but outside too, and yeah, it's amazing. So that's why I keep stay here.
Just for you personally, you've been here the longest. You've been here since the last time this team made the playoffs, and you had that experience up in Portland. Now heading into this time, you're going to be at home. How important is that to be able to play here in front of your home fans for the playoffs? And also, kind of, how do you take that experience from 2017 and kind of help the rest of your teammates kind of prepare for what's to come?
Well, we just need to look back and then see the result that we had when we play home and how we play, you know, and I think we did good, and I don't think the other teams like to come here to play against us, so we need to take this as an adventure and really make things positive on the field. And yeah, I mean, I think we just need to focus on about like what we did so good to put us in this situation, in this position in the league. So it's just simple, you know. It's simple. We know we can play a good soccer, and we just need to restart and do again, you know. So yeah.
Marta, a lot of us were rooting for you to win the World Cup. That was a big storyline during the World Cup. How disappointed were you then, and how much has this season sort of helped you maybe get over it?
Well, it was good because I mean, like, yeah, World Cup, it was terrible for me, especially because I did had like the opportunity for play a lot, jumping maybe in 2 games, and yeah, we don't did the best World Cup. You know, there was the worst one for Brazil, but I had the chance like to come back here and then just focus in my work here with the team and the players, the staff, everybody just received me with so much love, and of course helped me to forget about what happened in Australia and looking forward.
Yeah. Boy, it's been a crazy couple of weeks, hasn't it?
Sure has.
How have you kind of just put it all into perspective?
Yeah, so from winning the Shield and then being undefeated and then, yeah, going away for these past 2 games and not getting a result, it's been a roller coaster for sure. You know, I think it was a bit of a buzzkill, but, you know, this team is going to be so fine. We're still the same team that set all these records. We're still the same team that won the Shield. So, yeah, we're not hitting the panic button by any means. I think, you know, from winning the Shield, we never had a moment to really celebrate. We were off to Portland the very next day. So I think having these past few days off, I think we were able to kind of reset and just refocus on our next goal.
Because kind of talking about goals, a lot of the team, you know, talking throughout the season was the goal was winning a Shield and kind of setting that standard. And how do you feel like after winning the Shield, how is it that you can find that new focus and find, you know, the playoffs, having strived for the Shield, now having won it? How do you kind of go forward with that? How do you kind of help the team as, you know, one of the veterans and leaders on this team to kind of go forward with that as well?
Yeah. America's so interesting. You know, most leagues in the world, you win the league and that's the end goal. That is all of the motivation. In America, we like to do things different. In my opinion, it is much harder to win the league, to go however many games and consistently be the best of the best. So obviously I think we have to celebrate that, what we accomplished in the way that we did it. But now I think, you know, this is just a time to reset for us, a really good time to reset and just move our focus towards playoffs. It's almost just like it really is just a mini tournament. It's 3 games and anything can happen. So we just have to view it as 3 games and take 1 game at a time, 90 minutes, and yeah, give it our all.
How beneficial is it just to have 1 more game before playoffs against Seattle here at home, just to kind of clear out some of the issues and you know, refocus mentally as you head for that 3-game tournament?
This game against Seattle is really important for us. I think to just kind of get that momentum back. You know, it's tough having this international break. We lose some of our players and stuff, but yeah, to get our players back, to go out there, put on a show in front of our fans, play at home again, I think it'll be a really good moment for us to gain that momentum back.
I guess now, just having this time, can you finally kind of appreciate what you guys have been able to accomplish? I mean, it's not over yet, but like you said, you didn't really have time too much to celebrate the win because you were off on the next day. Have you kind of taken a step back and be like, wow, we've done something very special, and also kind of taken the fact that there's still more to do?
It's starting to sink in, I think. I think it probably won't hit me for a while. Because like you said, like there's still more work to be done. You know, even for the Seattle game coming up, we have an opportunity to set even more records. So not that that's our end goal by any means, you know, like records, it's not our motivating factor. It never has been all year. A lot of times we don't even know that they're up for grabs, and somebody tells us afterwards, most of the time. We're like, oh, cool. We had no idea. But yeah, the work's not done. So, you know, we have, a month or so left, hopefully. And I think like the end is in sight for us. So just refocusing that energy and putting it all in.
Last year and somewhat of this year, there's been an underdog mentality around this team where nobody believes in us. Now you're the favorites at this point. You've won the Shield. You're the top. How does that mentality just kind of shift for you, you know, having been here through the years of the underdog mentality now into this year? And how do you kind of help, you know, the team kind of shift mentality as well?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think, you know, the underdog mentality has been a benefit for us. I think the players that we have really bought into that and can relate to that. So I think changing that perspective, I think we still need to keep that. You know, obviously we have gained a lot of respect in the league, and we deserve that. We worked hard for that. But I think we still need to find a way to play with that chip on our shoulder, because that is part of our identity, is the underdog. I mean, not even the underdog, but like the gritty, like hardworking, which usually comes with an underdog mentality. But I think now we can play like champions with a chip on our shoulder.
Is that something you kind of want to push home, where it's like, well, we're the Shield winners, we need to act like our Shield winners?
Yeah, that's definitely been a message for us. You know, I think not only this league looks towards us as champions, you know, the world looks to, you know, like, what is the standard what does it take to be a champion in the NWSL? So I think, you know, with that title comes a responsibility. We can't drop our standards. We have to raise them because I think everybody's looking at us and be like, oh, like that's what it takes to be a champion. So every game we have to show up and be our best.
How important is it now, just knowing that you're going to be at home for these playoff games? As long as you keep winning, you're going to be at home until the championship game. How much does that just kind of help mentally in preparation for these games?
Being home is a massive advantage. We talked about it in training today, actually. You know, who knows if you'll ever get such an opportunity towards the championship, you know, to have quarterfinals and hopefully potentially semis hosted at home. Like, what better way to do it? So we love playing here. We love our fans. It's become a fortress this year. So we're really excited. Appreciate you.